Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again. It's your favorite time of the week. It's actually Monday at 6:30 a.m. while we're doing this episode. But for you lucky folks, it's Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. And that can only mean one thing. It's Keepin It Rio time for the 240th consecutive week, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. We're here on episode 240, and I am excited for today because I've got a great guest. And I think we're going to share a lot of value. We're going to share a lot of really cool educational stuff as well as just having fun. And I was recently a guest on this young lady's podcast. Now she's here gracing us with her presence. Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me the honor of welcoming today's guest, Miss Deanna Lucas, to the podcast. Deanna, welcome to Keepin It Rio. How's it going?
Hey, glad to be here. It's going pretty good.
It's Monday, right? We're up and awake, and that's getting a lot done as far as I'm concerned. I'm already 3 cups of coffee deep, so hopefully it kicks in here in the next couple minutes, and we just go on a caffeine fueled rampage for the next hour. But let's start our caffeine fueled rampage off by telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm not such a young lady as you call me. I have over 30 years of experience building homes. I grew up in a family of builders, and my family is actually has built over 300 homes. I'm from West Virginia, a little town outside of West Virginia called Pinch, West Virginia, which was real close to a neighboring town called Quick. So often they'd say Pinch Quick. West Virginia. But anyway, we built over 300 homes all over West Virginia and enjoyed that. We even started with our own family home, building our own family home. So as long as I can remember, I've been on a job site. And so I have now transitioned. I've been this builder. I also had an interior decorating and designing business where I actually did the construction myself as well. So I have, flipped and remodeled and redone over 400 homes on top of that. So lots of experience. And I have now transitioned I have my own digital marketing agency called DND Business Systems, where I help my peeps, my tribe. I help them, kind of annihilate local competition and really win their area as, that branded go-to guy or gal in their community. And I enjoy it. Having a good time. Actually, you mentioned my podcast, The Builder's Edge. I started that to help builders kind of master the business side of building. I feel like, my digital marketing agency helps that. Those that are in the trades are often very artistic, very talented with their art of what they do, putting some good product out there, but sometimes they miss the ball on the business side of it. So I put the podcast together to kind of help with that. We talk about everything from taxes to mindset and everything in between, growth, scaling, all of it. And I thought I'd start the podcast. This is crazy, Chuck. I thought I'd start the podcast and really try to help my listeners. And you wouldn't believe how much I'm learning and how much they're growing me and how much they're helping me. So that's a little bit about me.
I love it. And that's what's cool about podcasts is you find out later on down the road that you ended up getting the most benefit out of doing it. I've done 240 episodes and I've talked to some of the most amazing people in the world. And it's funny because, the audience can watch an episode and then they kind of don't think about it again. I'm the same way. I don't ever watch my episode until it's, out there in the public, until it premieres. And then I sit and watch it and it's like, wow, I don't even remember half of the conversation because you're trying to think differently and trying to be able to pivot back and forth and say, okay, what's the next question? But then when you sit down and actually listen to it after the fact, it's like, wow. And then you go back a year, 2, 3, 4 years later and listen to those episodes. And it's like, man, there's some real value to this. So I appreciate anybody that's willing to put a podcast out because it's fun, but it is very demanding as well. So
it is demanding. I guess you can pick how often you do. I air mine once a week, so that is pretty demanding. And just to kind of keep that variety in there with your guests so that you are offering that value and things, it's a little difficult. Yeah, but I love it. It's pushed me to, be even more than, just a digital marketing agency. So it's allowed me to offer even more value to my, my peeps out there. So I wouldn't listen to mine for the first, for the first 5 or 6 months. I didn't even want to listen to any of them or watch any of them because, that first time you're hearing your voice and you're on air, you're kind of like, I don't know that I might stop if I get to, I might be too judgmental on myself. So I might not suffer, because you get better over time, the more you do it, the better it just flows out and happens. But I didn't want to freeze myself because of my first couple of episodes.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing. I tell, like with sales, for example, the hardest door to get out of is the one in your car to get out and actually do the work. With the podcast, that's it's true. Like actually letting that first episode out there into the wild so that other people can actually see it is the most challenging and the most difficult step of the entire thing. Once the first one goes out, it's almost like, wow, okay, that wasn't as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I get more positive feedback than negative. And okay, here we go. But getting that first one out there it's tough.
Yes. And that reminds me, Chuck, I'll mention this is great opportunity to mention this very important thing to anybody listening out there. We're always trying to grow our businesses with social media, right? So the number one thing that Facebook loves is going live. So when you go live, that first one, you're actually trying to figure out all the techno, or at least I was. And then, but once you get that part, my first going live, I went live to say I'm going to go live on this Thursday and talk about something that I have to share. And do you know, Facebook, the algorithm just opened up. If you're stuck and can't get your content out there, just bite the bullet. When you're out there and you're pouring concrete and you're making it look all smooth and everything, or you framed it up, to my contractor out there, just go live, say, hey, and mention the town you're in, mention, whether that's a commercial or residential, and just do a 30 seconds and just see how much more your analytics improve and how many more people in the community get to see your stuff just because you went live. Bite the bullet, do it, put it out there. You get a chance after you've gone live, you can actually click, yes, extend it, let it go. I'm okay with it. Or you can just delete it, either one. But I recommend putting it out there, and it'll really help your business.
Yeah, definitely. So this is a great segue into what I wanted to kind of start our conversation with, which is
all right.
Digital marketing, helping, contractors of various trades to get their brands out there, to get them marketed properly so that they get the attention they deserve and therefore the business that they deserve as well. But this is not something that's been, digital marketing hasn't been a thing for a super long period of time. I want to start at the very beginning, Deanna, and ask you, at what point in your career, like you said, several hundred new construction homes, renovation projects that you've done, all these things, at one point you sit down and you just start thinking to yourself and you say, I think digital marketing is something I would be great at doing, and I want to help other people with it. Tell me a little bit about this realization in your mind. What led you into the world of digital marketing for construction companies?
Well, that's a great question.
It's you're blazing a brand new trail, basically.
It's a pretty big leap. So I wanted to become this digital nomad. I'll be honest. I wanted to be able to be wherever I wanted to be and not have to be tied down to living in one specific, spot or area to have my business. And I thought, that's great. I'll have it digitally. And then when I thought about having it digitally, and then I thought about, being able to still stay in my wheelhouse. I thought, how many, contractors out there have an ex-contractor be their marketer? I understand there's things that I know right off that will help their business, because my foot was right in there. I was in it. And I was in it when the housing market crashed. That's when I actually had my my decorating and designing business. And I was actually doing, from construction, design to construction, all the way to the end. And I had clients in line. I never at that time scaled that one, other than having just client after client after client. And then they were all in line, and I could just, honestly, I could quote whatever quote I wanted to quote, because, several things that I did, I stayed within budget unless they changed something. I started when I said I was going to start, and I finished when I said I was going to finish. And I was always neat and clean when I got done, because these people are living in their homes. It's their sanctuary, and, coming home to a mess is not good. But anyway, I said all that to say that to know what that's like and how that experience is, now that I'm trying to help you with your marketing, it's just a no-brainer.
I agree. And I think that we're seeing a huge shift right now it's almost a generational type shift where, the old way of doing things versus the current and future way, they don't really look similar anymore. So a lot of people that are kind of stuck in the old school mindset, they're going to get left behind as we continue to evolve. And I always tell the story about myself. I came here to San Antonio. I had never been here before in my entire life.
That's pretty impressive that you did that. Yeah.
It's crazy is what it is. But here we are. We get a roofing business that's out of business, and I don't know a single human being within 150 miles of where I'm at. So I took to digital marketing pretty quickly because I had no choice. And it was one of those things where it's like, all right, get out there and make as many friends on social media as you can in your little market here and try to, build it up. But I also recognize that there are a lot of people that still are very hesitant to jump on board, that say, my yellow page ads have worked, or my radio jingles that I've been doing, or whatever it may be.
Yard signs. A lot of people still believe in the yard signs. And what I tell them, I say, that stuff is great, but the first thing somebody's going to do, like back when they worked, somebody would see a yard sign and they'd say, oh my gosh, I need to get this done. Right there's, who I'm going to call. Now they have the information is massive at their fingertips. So the first thing they're going to do is see that yard sign. I said, I need to get my gutters cleaned. They're going to look you up. They're going to look you up. They're going to look your competitors up. They're going to look at your reviews. I definitely want to talk about this recent research that Google did. Now, it didn't profit Google any. So just so you know, they weren't going to profit from this research, but they did the research to kind of help us all out in our plans and things. So I do definitely want to get into how that has changed. And it's changed. It's really taken a big leap with AI, but not to scare anybody or get anybody worried. You just got to think about it differently. And, I'd love to share some of that too.
Well, let's talk about that, because Google's a subject that's near and dear to my heart. I had my Google page suspended about a year and a half ago, and I've never been able to get it back. I've paid people thousands of dollars to help me. Nobody has been successful. I've basically decided that, maybe Google doesn't want to be my friend, but there are a lot of things that played into that situation as far as I could tell. I can't get any concrete answers, but I've got several, mushy, it could be this, it could be this, it could be that. So let's talk a little bit about this. And I think this is where a lot of contractors right now, especially in my area, roofing, I've seen a lot of people have been having issues with this, and maybe you're just not aware of some of the things that are going on. So let's dive deep, my friend. Tell me a little bit about what's going on.
Okay. So let's talk about Google Business Profile, and then I'll go into this other part of Google. So now that you mentioned about the Google Business Profile, so that it's read through, it's read through AI. No hand touches your Google Business Profile, right? So little things, and they're constantly changing their algorithms. So, and it's as crazy as if you picked a volatile day to change something on your Google Business Profile, then it could flag you. And it can be simple things. Often our digital content, of course, is all geotagged and it's all marked and everything. And sometimes we can, put it in there as one thing. It reads it as something else. But there is a platform that you can go to, and it's a community platform for Google Business Profile. And you can get into some conversations with people about what's going on and how to help that. Yes, had the same recent experience. My dad's business, he's been in business for 40 some years, and then all of a sudden they wanted to suspend it, and it has been a nightmare to get it back, but it can be done. But it's an important tool to get back. If you can't get it back, this is a recommendation you could try. If you can't get it back, get you another Google, another Gmail, and build you a brand new one. Start off with a brand new one. Add some little something to your name, like if your name is American Concrete, and that's what LLC is, what it's been before. And so let's say you're from South Carolina, you can put American Concrete SC LLC, and just add a little something to it and go on and build a new one, and then, tell them to keep that one. You got a new one. But and then you can put in there how many years you've been in business as well. So yeah, anyway, that's for that one. It's not difficult, but we do them. We, manage them. We, get them verified. We set them up from scratch, whatever stage you're in. But anyway, the other thing I wanted to talk about was Google's research. This is really important, because if you're out there and you're in any kind of service business and you're thinking, my gosh, my what worked literally last month is not working anymore. I had someone tell me the other day they put out 500 and some yard signs, paid people to put them all over town, and they got one phone call from it, one lead from it. So that lead probably, I'm sure it covered the cost, but man, you would think out of 500 and some community yard signs, you'd have more than that. So this is what's happening. Our buyers are different. Those who are our avatar have changed. The way they think has changed. The way they decide to do business is all different. So it used to be we could take somebody from the top of a funnel and we'd funnel them right into pick me, and they're picking you. So that's gone. And what has caused that to go is, one, we have an informational highway out there, like masses and masses of information. Two, nobody trusts anybody anymore, right? And then, the more AI comes out here, the less you can trust some people, right? So what Google found is somebody will get some idea of you. They see a yard sign, they'll see an ad, they'll come across your page, your Google Business Profile, whatever it is. Then so that's how they introduce themselves to you. Now, what they do is they find out about somebody, then they start looking at all their stuff. They go in this crazy 8 kind of form, mingling through your stuff, looking at your reviews. They don't just look at Google Business Profile reviews. They look at them on your website. They go to Yelp. They go to Angie's. They go to these other places to make sure that there's not something hidden in there, because they can in a few seconds. This only takes them a few seconds. They're doing it. If you're out there thinking, I don't do that, I'm telling you, if they're making a big decision to have a contractor, because think about the reputation of contractors. You're screwed before you ever get in the door. They think you're a thief and you're going to just, beat them out of a bunch of money and not do what you said you're going to. They think the worst of us, unfortunately. So they're going to be looking everywhere and diving deep in to see that there's nothing hidden in those little cracks. And then, and this is what I tried with most of my contractors, is I try to get them to offer some sort of free thing. And you think, well, what is that? But what that does is that gets them to raise their hand. You get a name and you get an email. Now, boom, they're on a list. They're on your pipeline. They're in your messy middle kind of section here. What you do is you get an email and a name and an email. Next thing you know, you're sending them some a a pack full of referrals. Video referrals are a little short video referral is a great thing nowadays, because they think, well, people can fake reviews and things, but if you get a video review that looks legit, then those are worth, they're a diamond in the rough. So you keep sending them stuff. And then you've, like, let's just say like a handyman service, for instance. You can have like a free home maintenance checklist, and this is on your website. So you send them to that. Maybe they've looked at your stuff and they can click on that and have that. Now they've given that email and that name. Then they're doing this checklist. And in the back of the checklist, you have, if you've checked anything from number 1 to number 10, you can, prioritize them. Then we need to get you on the books right now before you have major problems this fall or winter. And then they're in this messy middle. Maybe you've got a podcast. Maybe you got some YouTube videos of you out there on the job, doing some recordings. You're sending them to go look at that. And maybe you're running some email campaign. They're getting that. And then finally, now that you're like on the top of their brain all the time, now you're the one that they choose. And not only are you the one they choose, you're the one that they're telling the neighbors, oh, I know this guy. They act like you're long lost friends and buddies because they've seen you somewhere. And then they're already reviewing you to neighbors and things that are needing your services.
I love that. And you're spot on. I use those videos all the time. I cut reels for my podcast and I send them to homeowners. And I always tell people the podcast, I didn't know what it was going to be. And the beauty of it is I have a lot of people that are not related to what I do for a living, but I can find little relatable things that I can, put a reel together. And, for example, I had a magician on one time, and my 3-week follow-up, if I haven't heard back after 3 weeks, is the little video of the guy that's doing a card trick. And it's like, hey, I hope my guy didn't make you disappear, just checking in, or whatever. And that kind of sets you apart from the other people in not just in your industry, but it sets you apart from people in general, because not too many people are willing to do that. And they're not willing to put the time and the effort into doing it. But to me, building a brand is far more important than going out and getting, a 5-pack of Google leads that are going to be random. And I guess this is my next question for you is, I've been in contracting for a long time myself, and I've watched an evolution over the course of time from, writing your orders down on a napkin or getting someone to sign a piece of notebook paper to, now basically everything being digital and a completely different world that we're living in. As we've seen this evolution, obviously we've had to change. You saw a need in this to the point where you decided to start your own firm to help companies that were, in need of this jumpstart are going to be able to move forward. So let me ask you this, the early stages of your marketing, your decision to go all in on this and to help other companies to grow themselves with their digital presence. Yeah. As much as I hate to say this, it's like everything else. Until you have proven results, people are going to be kind of skeptical, right? So let's talk about your experience, Deanna, as you decide to start a digital marketing company. Now you're looking to actually go out and find some clients that you can help. What's this process look like for you in the early days as far as credibility, case studies, being able to tell people, hey, here's the results I'm going to get and here's how? Did you have a hard time getting this up and running because of, there's just no background really to speak of?
Well, that's a great question. So, how, when you're out there and you're trying to start a business and trying to grow a business, they tell you to, lock arms with the right people, right? Yeah. Get those partnerships going, get those collaborations going. And I've been fortunate enough to kind of have that partnership with a big company that's been doing this for over 10 years. They have generated over 9 million leads for their contractors and service-based businesses, and which has generated over $52 million for them. and they're in my back pocket. So they're my buddy, they're my right-hand man, and anything that is out there that I need to support me, they support me. I'm constantly being trained by them. I'm about ready to take off to Texas, Dallas, for some more training in a couple weeks. And just keep those in your wheelhouse with you that do the same thing as you do, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. There's no quicker way to build your network than to actually go out there and do the work to build the network and get your name out there. And as you start to get your name out there, now more and more people start to recognize you, and they start to say, hey, you know what? I see what she's doing, and I could probably use a little bit of help with this. Yeah. When you're a young organization just getting started, I talk to entrepreneurs from all over the world, and we all have the same thing in common, except for like one or two of them that, basically hit a home run right out of the gate. But a lot of people
had a silver spoon in their mouth.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Some people just get lucky, and God bless them. I wish I was them. But I like the hard work aspect of it. I like the building of something from scratch and watching it grow and develop into what your vision is. So now you've got this, and you understand what you need to do. You need to help people. You're now searching for some clients that you can actually go help. What does your standard demographic look like for your ideal clients at this stage of the game? Are you looking for, mom and pop type organizations? You looking for $100 million companies, anything in between? Or is it basically a case-by-case situation?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that. What I'm looking for is my ideal avatar. Of course, I have several, that I have offered case studies. That's another thing that I've offered. Those are some of those are in different situations in their business, different setups in their business. And, I'm kind of bringing those in. I've got a brand new CRM called the Client Edge. And that's where people can, these businesses can go and manage all of their clients. They can have their own AI employee. They can have their own AI messaging, so that while they're on the job, these text messages and DMs are going back and forth with their clients and managing their clients. They can have their clients in their own pipeline. It's just massive CRM for them. I'm excited about that. But anyway, so I've got a few case studies is one way, but my ideal avatar is someone who is so busy. They don't have time to do this. They're ready to scale. They don't have the time to do this, but yet they want somebody else to kind of take over and do these things for them. I do have a done for you service with this CRM where we set up the whole kit and caboodle, and you're just off like, you're branded, you've got all this on automation and on autopilot. And I have a lot of people that are, they're like, I don't know, that takes the personal touch out of autopilot. I'm going to differ with you. I'm going to say, no, I'm sorry. This generation, these last two here, that's what they expect. They don't want all that other stuff. They want to be informed right away, whether it's whether it's an automation letting them know what's going on, or they actually talk to a person. They don't care. They just want to know what's going on. They want communication, and they want this on autopilot. So we do have a done for you service. Of course, you can come right in and set it all up yourself and do your own campaigns. I have a case study of a gentleman who has a handyman business, and he's going to start setting up an SMS campaign where he's going to mention the fall's coming. He's got a big client base, and he's going to mention to them about services, things they need to look at around the home to kind of winterize it and winterproof it and get it ready for the winter. And that's just going to be a campaign he's setting up by himself. So go either route.
Yeah, right. As long as you're doing something, that's the most important aspect to it. And like I said, with me, I've been in the roofing world, so I've seen a huge change over the last 25 plus years in the way things are done. We didn't even have CRMs like 10 years ago. Didn't even exist. No. And now there are a lot of different platforms out there that can help grow. I've got, full follow-ups and all that stuff automated as well. Yes. I think it's an amazing thing. And I do agree, though, that, the human touch and organic content is still very important. But I do think that consistency is the most important aspect. And I see that, putting it on autopilot, like you say, does serve a purpose in that people know, maybe they don't even know, but subconsciously 7 o'clock every Monday, I'm going to see this ad from Rio Blanco Roofing, or, I see this guy all the time. He just becomes second nature. And next thing you know, top of mind awareness kicks in, and you're the choice when it's time to do that. So I think that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. But you're not going to be, I kind of beg to differ a little bit there, Chuck, if it's okay. This day and age, you can't be a faceless business. So you really do have to put your face out there. You have to, consistency is important, because all the algorithms out there with every single system and service wants, it to be often. If you can only get to once a week or once a month, just make sure you don't miss a month. Make sure you don't miss a week, because they pay attention to that, and then they slow down showing your stuff to as many people, because they know you're not consistent. And when they think you're not consistent, they think you're not consistently working, especially with service-based businesses. So you have to be whatever you pick. And if you are super busy, and that's another thing that's on our CRM, is they can load all their social media, and they can post out for a month. They can take, an hour or so and post a whole month out for content. And then you can just rotate content too, because, now it's with the AI and the way it's doing the search, it's going out and looking at everything. YouTube is the number 2 search engine. And it's getting, Reddit is coming up really close behind, but it's the number 2. And so, you have to have stuff everywhere so that you're the go-to kind of guy, as you said, for sure. Consistency, but it has to have a face. They don't know how, I was trying to help this gal with her cleaning business the other day, and we started looking up her competition and everything. And we're in a travel destination kind of, so there's all kind of rental property down here. And so needless to say, there are cleaners, millions of cleaners down here, right? So, but out of all the ones that we went through, there were only 2 out there that had a face to them, or even showed, who was going to be coming in their home. And we were like, service-based businesses, you're going in somebody's private home. You may be going around their children and young children and stuff like that. If you are not putting a face to your product, they don't even know who they're inviting in. And like you said, the roofing business has changed a lot. Roofing is one of them. The pool industry is another one. But what they do is, they'll have somebody go that looks very local, and they'll just go door to door to try to get people to purchase this, a new roof and things like that. And then somebody, this whole other crew that doesn't even look like they're even from the same, town, in an unmarked vehicle, and then they're doing the service. So, this is going to be giving us another bad name, probably. We have to be branded. You have to, when you brand everything from your truck to your shirt you have on, all the way through branded, then you look trustworthy. Then put the face on there. It's no brainer to pick you. Think about it.
I agree with that 100%. And I think that, that visibility is huge. And I've lived that with my own company for as long as we've had it. I've always been the face, and I make all these job site videos and little explainer videos and all that stuff. And it's a lot of fun. But the cool part about it is when you pull up to a house, like you say, you've already got a presence there, and the people already feel like they know you. And I've had so many opportunities where they're like, we're not even calling anybody else. We know that you're the guy. We see your content that you put out all the time, and we know that you're the person, and that you're going to do the right thing. And we just like what we see. So to me, it's an easy sell, put yourself out there and people are going to like you, but it's something that a lot of people struggle with. And I always like to ask this, with roofing, you just hit on something that I'm so excited to talk about here, which is branding. Yeah. And one thing about roofing is, like in Dallas, Texas, there's over 4,000 roofing companies.
Yeah.
Here in San Antonio, there's like 2,500 or some crazy number, right? And you've got to stand out from the competition in some way, shape, or form, or else you all just kind of look the same. And I always tell people, if you're one of those that's out there door knocking after a storm, if you're not the first one at the door, you might as well put a bag over your head because you don't have a actual identity other than just nuisance knocking on the door. And the 3rd through 20th person, they all look the same. So what I always like to ask about branding specifically is roofing. Okay. 3,500 roofing contractors, probably 3,300 of them have a little picture of a roof line on their logo.
Yeah.
Maybe, a hammer. Mine's the same. I'm not hating on it. I didn't design it,
Right.
but when everything looks the same, what are some of the things that you recommend to your clients? I know branding is a huge, huge thing, but you've got to separate yourself from the pack as well. So when you get started on something like this, what are some of the things that you recommend to contractors to maybe differentiate from everybody else in their market?
I love this. I love branding. I don't know whether it's the designer in me. I love branding. So I'm glad you asked this. So before you pick a name, talk to somebody about branding, because there are keywords out there that people are searching, and we can do that research and we can put those keywords in your name. So boom, you stand out, right? So, roofing, of course, is a general name. You can have roofing in there, but I'm talking about keywords that people are searching for. Like, for instance, I have a contractor that does tree removal, and he's an arborist. So, we were searching on some rebranding because there are like 3 in his community that have the same name. I won't say what that name is, but they have partially the same name as his. He's like, I'm just falling in the sea. He's experiencing exactly what you're talking about. So I went through and thought about went through and did the keyword research. He is a certified arborist, which is not, we're going to brand him with this. We're going to get this out there. I think that's a key thing, to know that you have somebody that's a certified arborist coming into your yard and managing your trees and managing your tree pruning and removal and stuff. It's not just anybody. They've been trained on how to keep them healthy, and to take care of the ones that aren't. So here he is. He lives right at the base of the Blue Ridge Mountains. And so, I'm running some, things there, and we're going with this arbor care. So some keywords are tree care, arbor care, and things like that are some keywords that are searched. And so we're going to put that into his name and see about getting him in there and standing out just simply by the name. That's one way.
Right. That's exactly it.
Yeah. Another way is that face. I just cannot. The best way to do this, when I first started my podcast, I'm going to tell this female portion of me, but maybe men are the same way. I don't know. But when I was first out there, all my hair had to be perfect and I had to have all my makeup on, and I even did this. Now I'm like, if I got my makeup on, I got it on. And those out there watching are probably thinking, you probably should have put some on this morning. But anyway, if you'll just get those first few out there, you'll start to think, this is nothing. What was I so, aggravated at this about? And the best way to kind of start is just 3 little steps. I'll go off on this tangent, but just do a before photo, you get your face in your picture, and then get a during, like some little short 3 seconds something. And then at the end, you can show, yourself, and you do a picture and you have a thumbs up. Then you go out to your Facebook, you pick one of their templates and you just throw that stuff in there and you hit send and you post, and there it is, and the next thing you know, if you do those 3 little steps, you'll be like, this is a lot easier than I thought. Next thing, you can move up to 10, 15-second reels and just start doing those reels. When you go to YouTube, you turn your phone sideways and you start doing some YouTubes like that and do some little short videos. And now you got your YouTube stuff. Have to have a YouTube channel. If you are a local service business, there is no question about it. You have to have your YouTube channel. I even have a YouTube channel. So yeah, you got to have it. That's another way to brand. I, had a gentleman the other day who said he had like 400 and some followers for his service-based business. He did some sort of silly reel where he, was looking at something that was stuck back in the wall or something. And it got 1.5 million views. It went viral. He went from 400 followers to 4,000 overnight. And all he thought he was doing was just some silly, oh my gosh, what is this? Went viral. You just got to do it.
Yeah, and I know somebody in my industry that did that. She was a guest on my show, and we were talking about it. She was up on a roof doing an inspection and pulled a tennis ball out of a gutter, and the water started pouring down the downspout real quick. And she went from I don't remember what the number was, to 28,000 social media followers overnight. And it's crazy? And now you use that to your advantage. And it's like, hey, I took the opportunity. I put it out there. You never know what's going to stick. It's the craziest thing. Sometimes
it's the craziest thing that sticks. You just got to constantly be dumping it out there. You're right.
That's it.
Constantly.
I love it.
Yeah. And so, when you're thinking about it, think about, your daily routine. It could be as simple as, I tell them all the time, just, you take a photo or a video of your truck looking like crap. And you're like, oh my gosh, look at my week. This is how my week ended. And then you put it all back together all nice and neat. And you say, oh, I'm ready for Monday, and people watch that stuff. It's crazy. I don't know why, but they watch that stuff. And like you were saying, that people just know you. It's true. There's a phenomenon that I forget what it's called. Listeners out there probably know what I'm talking about, but it's where people see someone on video and they have this idea that they know them. Just like, how people will, they'll have their favorite fan. They'll be a fan of their favorite actor or actress, right? And they just act like they just know them personally, and they know how good of a person they are and how their morals are. They just swear they know them all the way to the itsy bitsy corners of their life, right?
That's it. And I love that recognition from people because, it does separate you from the pack, and it's like you're pre-selling yourself before you get there. So I love the entire concept of branding. I think personal branding is my favorite thing in the world. And I love everything that has to do with finding new, unique ways to create revenue opportunities for your business and yourself. And I guess the next thing that I would like to ask for an expert such as yourself is, let's say that you've got someone that's on the fence right now and they're like, I'll use roofing as an example. We've got 78 or however many mutual friends. So some of my roofing buddies will watch this and say, oh yeah, we know her. Let's say that you've got a small company, you're wanting to take it to that next level, but right now you're doing everything yourself. We kind of hit on this early on, this is the ideal client for you. Someone that's doing everything for themselves right now, they don't maybe quite understand exactly what needs to happen to elevate to that next level, digitally speaking, with their footprint, getting a larger footprint in their market. What are some things that brand new, hey, I've been in business for a couple years, but I've just been writing it down on a sheet of notebook paper. I've got a spreadsheet. Everything's great, but I know that I can't sustain this. And I know that I can't grow it to the level that I want. What are some of the first steps that people should take? Because I know a lot of companies that start off by saying, okay, we just spent $5,000 on Google ads. Now, Google ads are great, but they're not personal. So what would be the best investment someone could do on the front end as they're starting this digital marketing journey for their brand and they want to build it, rather than just throwing, here's $2,500, give me 10 leads and I'm going to go out there and still be a nameless, faceless entity? What are some of the things that people should be doing on that front end to get themselves established?
That's great. Great question. You're right. They'll throw that money out there, and then the next month they'll have to throw that money out there, and then the next month they'll have to do the same thing. And then when they have to scale, they'll have to, quadruple that. That doesn't work. And I have done a complete podcast on, if you're throwing money at ads and you don't have a digital powerhouse, is what I call it, in place and set up, you're wasting your money. It's just because they're going to look you up. There's no question about it. They're not going to decide on you just because you have the prettiest ad on Google. They're not. So definitely set up your digital powerhouse. The best free part of the digital powerhouse is that Google Business Profile. And it needs to be automated, and you need to be managing it. My CRM can answer all those reviews. It can do a review and referral, kind of a gatekeeper, so to speak. It gives you the opportunity, if you could, if they click yes, I'm satisfied, or no, I wasn't satisfied, then you can get back out there and you can figure out what in the world went wrong and fix that so that you can get a great review. It's set up on automation, so when your client gets their invoice, then they're also given a thank you and ask for a review and referrals. So those are all automations that can be done and set up. So manage your Google Business Profile, get it, use it like a Facebook page. It's free to you, and just start posting everything. And there's, you can do your ads, you can do your reels on there. You can do just regular photos, befores and afters, all kind of different things you can put on there. Keep that up, keep that posting, keep adding service areas to that Google Business Profile. Now serving, put a photo up and then add it as a service page. Now serving, Dallas, Texas, whatever area you're expanding out in, use that. That's a great tool to grow it. And what you'll notice, though, is those are showing up now more a little bit down now that AI is in the top search. So they're falling down just a little bit. So really, unless you have your digital powerhouse, now your websites, you have to be a pretty big, powerful website just to be on the first page anymore. So what we work with people is to get them up there in the AI snippet, so that AI is reading all of their things and making sure that they're the ones that are recommended in that snippet before they ever get down to the Google map and stuff. Get your YouTube channel, get whatever, I recommend a YouTube channel, and then whatever your avatar is on. If they're on Instagram, get on Instagram. If they're on Facebook, get on Facebook. At least pick one more of those. If they're all on TikTok, wherever they're at, you get there too. And then so that you have that digital powerhouse, and just make yourself a household name, and that's the way to scale with automations. Because if you're planning on staying on the tool, somebody's going to have to be doing this, and it might as well be your AI employee, and it might as well be your automations that are taking care of helping you scale.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's awesome, the stuff that we've got literally at our fingertips. And I mean that in kind of a corny way, but it's true. We've got all these different platforms, all these different opportunities to get ourselves out there to the public, to make our brand well aware, our awareness much larger than it is. But I do have another question here, and I love having experts, because experts, they know the answers. So I've been in this for a long time. I remember the first time I saw someone say, I'm paying for an ad on social media, I'm paying for Google ads, I'm paying for all this stuff. And obviously word travels fast in this world. One guy starts doing it, gets a little bit of success. The next guy says, well, wait a minute. If he's doing that and making that kind of money, then I need to do the same thing. And before you know it, you've got a watered down, basically source of opportunities, where I think in the early days with Google and Facebook, you could maybe outspend your competition, get your presence out there. But now everything's kind of leveled off. Is there a sense that now maybe the value of a Facebook ad or a Google ad is not what it used to be? And is there some sort of trend that we're looking at that says, hey, you know what? This is the next thing that's going to be working out better, and we start transitioning from one to the other? Or is it going to be something where Google and Facebook are just going to be steady? They're going to be here forever, and it's going to be something that, I guess would be considered a wise investment, as long as you are willing to put up what you need to get that presence?
Well, it's not a wise investment when your cost per lead is so staggering high as what they are kind of now. Of course, they'll always be around. They'll always be around. And you have to have enough daily spend. But what I don't like about Google, that, they're kind of slimy. This is what they'll do. So if you, I don't know if you have ever went on to search for something yourself. And when you click somebody who's sponsored, maybe they're right at the top. So that's the most expensive probably placed right there. So when you click on them, it opens it up to another page where Google will go ahead and send you 3 more. Hey, I've got these other 3, by the way. So now that guy has paid that big price, or gal, for that big price for that click. And now they're in another sea of competition. It's like, Google, come on. Like, they paid you for that. Why are you even telling me about 3 others yet? Wait till I get back into my search again. You've put them on this page, super handy, So when you think of how you decide to use Google, think about this. I'm the one searching on Google. I'm their client. So they're going to try to make me happy. And the way they can make me happy is get me answers fast. Get me good sources fast. They don't want to pull people who don't know what they're doing, because that's not going to impress me. I'm their client. They want to pull people that look like they know what they're doing. They've got blogs on their website. They've got Q&As answered on their Google Business profile. They've got they got YouTube videos. Their content is all over and consistent, and Google reads that and sees that. So that's who they're going to pull. This new AI snippet area, they're pulling those from your blogs on your page or your Q&As on your page. Like, if you're a roofer, what does the average, do a question on your Google Business profile. What's the average 2,000 square foot roof replacement cost in Dallas, Texas? So, you're going to put that question in there, then you're going to go right around and you're going to answer it right away. And make sure you're checking, if people are answering questions. So you've answered that question. So now when somebody types that in, Google's going to find that on your Google Business profile, and it's going to say, well, Dallas Roofing says it's approximately this, and they give a little link to your page to where where they found it. So they're giving resources to the client, and they are also citing it. So you've got to be in those little sites. So now that you're in those little sites where they picked, now you'll notice you're on that little column to the right, and your website and your stuff is listed there, so that I can click on that and find out more about, this person, they're recommending that based on the information that they've pulled from these websites. The stuff has to be AI readable. There's a certain way AI reads your website now. You have to have some long content, but you've got to get that shorter content on there, those bullet point contents, that quick read content on your website. I do have an AI visibility fix. If you've just noticed that if you've gone from having, leads, lined up, a fountain full of them, and now all of a sudden AI's got their little snip at the top of the gain, and now you're not getting those leads like you would, then I just take all of your content and I go around and I prep it to be read for AI. I also give some AI blog prompts for you to continue the process. I've got 5 of them. So for 5 months out, you can continue to add these blogs to your website and keep the momentum going for your new AI visibility fix.
Yes, I love it.
Yes.
I'm all fired up about it. And this is something near and dear to my heart because I live it on a daily basis. Yeah. I know that there are people watching our episode right now. I always joke and say millions and millions of people are going to watch it. It might be 100 years from now. We may both long be gone by then. But if you're watching this episode today and you're like, you know what? I like this young lady. She seems to know what she's talking about. I've got a home service business. I would like to seek a little bit of help with growing my brand, with my marketing. What are the best ways for people to go about finding you to seek out your assistance with branding their companies and their marketing needs for the future so that they can continue to stay on the forefront and grow in a measurable and intelligent manner?
Wonderful. Glad you asked. Well, my website is DND, and no, that's not, doesn't stand for Dungeons and Dragons. My sons, we've always been family business and family oriented. My oldest son's Neil. His name's Neil, so that's the N. And my youngest son's David. So that's just that DND is close to my heart. So DND-business-systems.com is my website. Feel free to, I've got on there, business audits. We'll sit down. We'll just have a conversation about where you're at, where you want to be and what the problems that you have. And I'm a problem solver. There's no sense in me, trying to get you on board for stuff that doesn't even solve your problems. That's a waste of time and a waste of money. And so we solve problems in the quickest, easiest route, and we just find those problems, what's working, what's not. And we get on those with a business audit. There on my website, you'll see that there's a link there to book an audit. I do have I'm launching today a AI visibility scorecard, and that's where you can find that is AI-visibility-fix.com. And what that is that's going to make it give you a score on how visible you are seen by AI. So if you don't want to take my word for it, just go to that scorecard. Probably November 1st would be a great time to go for that scorecard. Check it out and know for yourself. And not only do they get a result right away, they also get my free guide. It's a 15-page guide on how to fix every single piece. It checks you in 4 different areas, and it gives you a score really on 4 different areas and an assessment, and then it tells you how to fix those. You can also go from there to a link to to talk about your score and your audit and how that turned out. My podcast, the Builder's Edge podcast, where we master the business side of building. You can see my, mug on the front of there is another, the Builder's Edge. I hate to say it, but it's more about people who are wanting to build their own home. So, and hiring the right contractors and things. Mine helps master the business side of building. You can connect with me there. I've got all kind of free links and resources and stuff there. I've got a builder's morning mindset to kind of start your day off on, doing your business and running your business on a daily basis. And, I think or you could call me 304-552-9580.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, no excuse. You cannot say that I could not find her and that I didn't know what to do to get the help that I needed. So this has been so much fun, Deanna. I appreciate you taking the time. Like I said, 6:30 on Monday morning. I love kicking my week off with a little Keepin It Rio podcast action. This has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed it. Open invitation to you. Anytime you'd ever like to come back, you're always welcome. Yeah. And one final thing before we go out here and take on the world to start our week, I would love nothing more than to thank my sponsors. My sponsors at roofer.com. That's ROOFR, Roofer. If you don't see it there, you see it here. If not, you see it on the screen. And as a construction person, I'm sure you can appreciate what Roofer is. It is your all-in-one solution for initial client contact all the way up to final payment and follow-up for years to come, everything in between. I love Roofer. They've been my sponsor for 3 years, and hopefully they'll be my sponsor until there is no more Keepin It Rio, which this is 240. My goal is 2,500, so we've still got a little ways to go. But thank you to Roofer. Thank you for the last 3 years, for everything you do to help my company out. And to all of our fans, the millions and millions worldwide, I always joke and say we're going to take Joe Rogan down, and I believe it's going to happen. Again, it may be a couple weeks before we get there, but we're working on it. So thank you to everybody that watches Keepin It Rio. It's a worldwide audience, and couldn't be more proud of that. Until next week, next Thursday, 7 p.m. Central. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, keep on Keepin It Rio. And Deanna, if you'd stick around for just a couple seconds after I hit this button, I'm going to play us out with an ad from Roofer, and then you and I can finish our conversation, and we can start our weekly ascent to the top. So
that's it.
See you guys next week. Thank you for being here, and we will see you all next Thursday. Keep on keeping it real.
We're Roofer. We know that managing a roofing business can be chaotic, so we created a single platform with all the tools you need to easily run your roofing business. Stop switching between multiple different softwares and experience streamlined operations from lead to payment in hours instead of days. Visit roofr.com to get started for free today.